This computer. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And this is the Phil and Phil show. We got a little technical challenges today, but there you go.
Sorry for the delay, guys. It's just taken us about half an hour to set up. So, Phil, you were saying when I was just talking just now about what you've been doing. Do you want to just give a brief outline of what you've been doing this week?
Oh, yeah. So this week I just did the Dr. Schultz kidney cleanse, which was really good. It's basically a 5 or 6 day cleanse. Started last Sunday and then fasted Monday to Friday on juices, water, teas. And basically just a great flush of the kidneys, lots of liquid, feeling really good. It felt really good to just, I haven't fasted for a while now, so it felt really good on my body. So, yep. So lots of stuff to break down any stones or debris in the kidneys and just flush them out. So, yeah. So it was a good week.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So I've just had a challenge coming from a great place where I've been very right brain and then trying to get back into my left brain to get work so I can function to actually do stuff properly. Hey, Tanya's back, and hello Zach, how you doing? So tonight we've got a lady called Chloe. Now I was with a friend of mine and I met Chloe, and she's got an incredible story to share, which she shared with me. And I said to Chloe, will you please come on our show and share your story, because it's amazing. It blew me away. And where she's at right now, which is where she's going to start at the present, in present time, and then she'll give you a story at the end. So Chloe is a very inspirational woman. I had the privilege of meeting her and sharing a bit of time with her, and sharing healing and advice, and yeah, just great is all I can say. I don't want to give away too much. Chloe's got a particular place where she wants to start, so she's got a beginning, middle, and an end planned. So let's get going. Chloe, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for such a lovely introduction. That was really kind. Where do we start? I want to start in the here and now. So there's a lot of changes that are going on in the world, in the collective consciousness. We're currently going through a dark night of the soul, which basically means that through house arrest, everyone's having to face all the shadows that they've been conditioned to run away from their whole life. So basically, I realised that the journey that I've been on has been quite intense and has had a lot of lockdown for almost 17 years. And that what I've learned in my own personal journey was relevant for a lot of people, because I feel like we're in a mental health pandemic. And I feel like we're in the infancy stages of all this technology for the past 12 years or so. And our lives have really sped up, and we have a lot of very unrealistic expectations about the world, who we are, what we're trying to portray to the world, what we need to acquire, and whose belief systems are these anyway? So there's a lot of confusion, I think, with people and their identity now. Suddenly, all bets are off and they've got to stay at home, and they're being forced to look at the stuff that they couldn't face before, because one, we haven't been conditioned to know how to actually deal with our stuff, and two, we are basically kept immature internally, and we're taught to take from the outside and put it within ourselves and identify with that, and that isn't actually the truth of who we are. And my journey has been quite intense. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, but I've learned a lot of cool stuff along the way, and I almost have been waiting for my chance to share this knowledge with the world, but it obviously wasn't the time. And Phil, thank you very much. You actually pushed me to do it. So here I am. So right here, right now, I am observing the world, and I'm seeing how people's personal characters are falling apart, which is very natural, because there's a lot of stuff that's very unsettling, and we're all being brainwashed, and we're all being conditioned by somebody else's agenda and somebody else's fear. Now, I don't think it's working for a lot of us. I personally don't feel like this is working for me, and I don't think there's a lot of people out there, but there's a lot of amazing information online but we're being censored, which is very interesting that we're getting censored. But so the truth is coming out, but there's only one version of the truth that we're all being brainwashed in with the news, and we're all being put into a state of fear, fight and flight, which basically means that we are in our kind of survival mode, and then we actually are believing all the stories that we're being fed. We're being told a pack of lies, and there's a lot of medical information and professionals out there that are telling the truth, but it's getting removed. So I really think it's very important that we use this time of being stuck at home to actually start to build a new sort of relationship with ourselves. Like, right here, right now is your foundation. Right here, right now is the place that you take the next step in. Like, whatever state you're in internally and externally, it doesn't actually matter. It's about accepting that this is the reality of where you are now, and what is the next simple step and breath that you can take in order to move your life forward in a very gentle manner. And a lot of the time, when people are going through this, it creates a crisis. It creates a unsettling crack in the identity almost on a grand scale. And there's this fear of missing out, when actually it's about reconnecting in with yourself, checking in with yourself. We've been conditioned to be all in our heads. And actually, when we're in fight and flight, we need to come lower into the body, lower into our hearts, connecting with ourselves, just through simple exercises like breathing. And the reason why breathing is so important, because every breath is an opportunity to start again. Every breath is your toolkit for change, if you choose to consciously direct yourself that way. Now, this has been something that's been done with yogis and grand masters throughout the world for thousands of years, and it really does work. And it really is simple, because if you can breathe deeply, you can reset yourself. Then you can kind of come more into your heart space and lower in your body and get out of your head a little bit, because sometimes you need to create a bit of space for your mind, like coming off social media and staying away from negative news, negative films. Like, what are you putting into your mind and your subconscious? Because on some level that's getting in there, and on some level you're going to be playing it out. Now, we can see the world stage and all the illusions and the fear mongering that we're all being put through with the scamdemic. That's my personal opinion, and I think there's a few people out there that also relate to. So basically, what it's very important is to kind of ground and center yourself. That we're trying to be disconnected from nature, so you need to go out, you need to be in nature, hug a tree. A tree is a very rooted, grounded being that you can take energy on to, like, ground yourself. You can do things like watch what you eat, watch what you drink. Like, people can go into over comfort mode, which will make you feel worse and will affect your mental health. Movement, the body needs movement. Inactivity is worse than smoking now, it's proven. So it's really important that you have something for your inner child to entertain yourself, to give yourself time. When you've been busy, and suddenly, like, you're forced to stop, your body needs an adjustment period. You know, you may not be able to do anything, focus on anything. You may want to sleep a lot. That's totally fine. Like, that's a natural readjustment to having your life on chop and having to readjust yourself to the new reality, which we're all having to do on a daily basis. So I really felt it was important to be able to start to share some of the tools that I've learned, because I've had to learn a lot of survival, and where I really feel that this is going, because we have things like Zoom and Facebook Live now, is that it's really important, because we've been in our infancy stages with all this technology, that there's a lot of BS out there. There's a lot of different opposing opinions, and it's really important to check in with yourself and think, does this really resonate with me? Is this my truth, or is this somebody else? And I think you need to start, like, kind of trimming off other people's news feeds, other people's agendas, like, and actually start realizing what resonates with you and what doesn't, because we're all different and we're all multi-dimensional creatures. Now, in this here and now, I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience. I'm a multi-dimensional creature. The truth is, we all are. And it's really hard when we've been conditioned into this left brain narrative. It really disconnects us from our right brain, which is our connection to source, our creativity, our freedom of expression. Like, we are all individual, unique beings that have been born with our own kind of blueprint to things. And we're all trying to fit into a square box, you know, and some of us are circles. We're not designed to fit into a square box. We're never going to fit into the square box, or because we're a triangle or a circle. So for me, I think it's really important about giving yourself the time to shed shed all the identity, all the crap, all the paying attention to the lifestyle choices you're making. And maybe there's some things that even when the world goes back to normal, that it's better to maybe not do those things anymore and have more time for yourself and more time to relax and recover from the busyness in the world. Because the world we live in, we're human doings, we're actually designed to be human beings. Things like meditation bring you back into your sense of self and actually start building an inner relationship with yourself. And that's what you need to really transform and change, because inner work isn't easy, but actually it's the only way you're really going to build the life that you really desire. And it's the only way you can actually grow into the person that you're born to be and actually bring out all your natural talents and abilities that you were naturally born with. So this is the foundation. This is the reality. This is the starting point. If you can't accept the here and now, you can't really step into the truth of where you want to go and where you need to direct yourself. And it's just one step at a time, one thing at a time, one breath at a time. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. The simpler you make it, the more you're going to succeed. And so simplicity is my message, because we can all make it we can all be very kind of competitive and very kind of high-powered goals and driven, but actually it's what about just being a human being, being connected to yourself, being connected to your family, being connected to all the cool things that you already own that you can, you know, discover and play and distract yourself, like when you're a child on summer holidays. So it's kind of perspective. Like, yes, there is stuff out of our control that we can't do, and yes, it is quite scary, and there's a lot of financial stress on people because it's the killing of industry, but actually it doesn't have to be the killing of your joy. It doesn't have to be the killing of your life. You don't have to stop living. You actually need to stop listening to the outside and learn to listen to yourself a bit more, because you have all you need to know already within you. It's just the world, society, your left brain conditioning hasn't taught you the skills of how to do that. So for the future, I want to create more conscious connections. I just started my YouTube channel, CC the Creative Channel, where I'm sharing my life's work that I've lived for the past 16 and a half years every day on my own, inside out evolution. I also started CC the Creative Channel on Instagram, which will also be sharing my life's work. I'm an artist. I believe that like creativity is a life energy. It comes through you, it works within you. You put something out into the world and you draw something back. Now, I've never really shared my story fully or my journey with the world, because I never found anything in the world that really resonated for me. And then I realized that it's actually my responsibility to create that, because I think other people are missing this too. So my vision for the future is to take the skills that I've learned. I've trained as a holistic therapist practitioner in lots of ancient energy practices that have been on the earth for thousands of years, that have kind of been removed from humanity's awareness. Like we both have divine masculine and feminine energy within us, and we've been living in a very masculine dominated left brain world, which meant we've been cut off from our emotions, we've been cut off from our intuition, we've been cut off from being able to intuit the world around us, and we've all gone into our heads. And like lockdown is putting everyone in their heads and fear mongering them, and actually you don't have to be in fear, that you can survive this, you will thrive through this if you choose to. So I'm about to launch like how people can help themselves. So I've been working on my own healing. I've trained in lots of different healing modalities over the years, but the future is basically setting up something that gives people the toolkit to really help themselves, to build a new subconscious program, a neurological pathway, let go of all their ego identity, letting go of these. People really try and believe what they're trying to make themselves without actually doing the inner work and actually becoming that and being that themselves. Like, it's not something that you have to do. It's something that you already are. And you just need to, excuse my French, unfuck yourself in order, and all the layers of reality that you're holding on within yourself. Like, your inner space needs a bit of spring cleaning. We all need spring cleaning. So I've developed this very simple, easy, fun and creative way, a toolkit for promote positive change, that I'll set people up with a new belief system, a new structure, a new program, a new feeling, and then a new neurological pathway. And then I give them a very simple tool to be able to build that pathway so it becomes a way of life. Because we need new sorts of healers in the world. We need truth tellers. We need people that are coming forward. None of this ego, none of this front, none of this material, consumerative, shallow, vacuous comparison, sort of judgmental lifestyle. We need authentic people to actually stand up and share their story and share that knowledge, because we're missing out on doing that generationally now because of the technology and the advancement we have. And I think that mental health is at an all-time high. I think people are more scared of communicating because they've presented this fantastic life on Instagram, and when they actually have a problem, they can't actually reach out to the people that they and ask for help. So like, I really feel that it's really important that we need to remove the ego from our society. We need people to like stand in their truth and show up as themselves and create an online tribe that will connect people in the real world once the world comes back to normal. So not a fancy like Facebook group, but actually a way to actually have real authentic human connection, coming together, sharing circles, being able people to help themselves, help each other, and actually realize that we're not that alone. It's just our lifestyle has disconnected us and put us all in our head. And now we need to come back to the heart, because we actually, as human beings, have our intuition in our heart and our gut. We need to use our head for our making decisions, our heart for leading us, and our gut telling us when there's danger. And we've lost this connection because we've been programmed that way. So it's not people's fault where they're at. Like, mental health is a real thing. People need a new direction of how to deal with mental health, because not one badge fits all, and everybody is a unique individual and not one path fits all. So there's many different ways of getting to exactly the same point. And I've come in to try and simplify complex things to make them accessible, easy for the way the world is today, and how people can evolve inwardly and grow up emotionally and actually reconnect with what they were born with and what they had when they were free children. So yeah, that's my goal, that's my vision, that's my purpose, that's my path, that's my truth, and I will speak my truth. And I haven't, so this is a good opportunity for me to start practicing that, because I feel like I can't change the world. I can only change myself. It's none of my opinion. It's none of my business what other people think of me, because they're not in my reality and I'm not in theirs, and that is totally irrelevant. What is important is to have self-love. What's important is to be grounded and connected in your moment, where you feel like you've got some sort of control, where you can navigate your life to keep yourself in a state of flow and feeling a bit lighter, more playful, more creative, more centered, or just calmer. If you're going through like some deep purging of like the old shadow, which you've never had the opportunity to do, and now COVID has forced you into doing it, I really feel for you. It's not easy, it really isn't, but you've got to actually believe that anything that goes down eventually has to come up. Nothing will stay the same forever. Even though you feel like you're trapped in hell forever, I promise you that you won't. And there is a way out and there is a solution, but you have to just breathe deeply, have some sleep, eat some food, journal, listen to music, be so gentle with yourself like you're a baby, and just give yourself the opportunity for your body to catch up and for your mind to relax and your nervous system to relax. Because if you're in fight and flight, you're pretty screwed, because you cannot make conscious, intuitive decisions from that place. So I want to create a positive tool. We all need a toolkit, and we have this positive, intuitive toolkit for change, which basically means that we use this toolkit, which I'm going to be giving free on YouTube and Instagram, so that you can help yourself, so that when you're going down a wobbly path, or you're stuck in the same negative loop or fear or whatever it is, or other people's fear or other people's crap that they're dumping on you because you may be in that environment, that there is a way that you can reconnect with yourself and find yourself and ground yourself and center yourself and create a state of calm and peace and safety within yourself, because you are stronger than any obstacle that you have to face. And yeah, so that's what I've been through quite an intense experience that I didn't choose, and I've learned an awful lot of cool things as a result of it, which I'm really grateful for, but I really wouldn't want to go through it anymore. And yeah, there'll always be a level that I'll be adjusting to this, but how long is a piece of string? So I will go into the past and I will share my story now. So do you have any questions before I do that?
Any questions, Phil?
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Everything you said resonated, and I love it. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. That I just believe that I'm just showing up as myself, and this will resonate with the people it's meant to resonate with. And I really hope that, I honestly believe that if I can help one person, or if my message can help somebody through a hard time, then it's been worth every bit of suffering. But I firstly want to say that if it wasn't for my mother, Debbie Kick, who's amazing, she's a legend. If it wasn't for her, I would never have got my independence. And if she wasn't the one that's standing by my side, helping me through the most darkest terrain and living it with me, and as a mother, probably taking on more than I actually had to endure, I would never be where I am today. So like, I am blessed that I've had people in my life that have stood by me and helped me, because we all need people. And even if you have just one or two in your life that help you through the dark situation, that's all you need. You know, like, any of the people that claim to be your friend and aren't actually there in the hard times, let those people go. They're fair weather people. Find people that really get you, that really resonate with you through the good and the bad, because you only need a handful of people in your life, like good eggs, like genuine soul connections that help you through. And so, like, thank you, Mum. Thanks so much. Thank you for suffering with me. So, yeah, so I haven't had an adult life that I've actually chosen. I've not experienced an adult life that I've chosen for myself. I haven't even lived an adult life in the world yet. This is still to come. Like, so at 18 and a half, I fell down some cellar stairs, which were dodgy building work, and I fractured my skull and I ripped my brainstem. So I sustained a traumatic brain injury, which basically meant, because I fractured my skull, I had a burst blood vessel, which was swelling of the brain. So when I was collected by the ambulance, they thought I was just a drunk teenager, and actually I had swelling of the brain. When they scanned me, when I slipped into a coma, they had to rush me to London to have emergency surgery, which was, I had about a very small window, and I managed to do it. So I had surgery, they stabilised me. I was in a Glasgow coma scale 3. If anyone knows about a coma, 15 is safe and 3 means you're pretty much dead and the machine's keeping you alive. Now, I had a near-death experience. So what happened to me was I was still connected to my body by a silver thread, but my soul came out of my body. I was in the hospital and I'm looking down at myself in the hospital ward in intensive care with everyone else. And I was like, oh, that's my body. That's strange. You know, like, it wasn't like an emotional thing. It was almost like, this is a bit like a dream, you know, like, we're in a dream, okay? Like, we're in a dream whether we're awake or asleep. But in this experience that I had, I left this physical plane and I went beyond space and time, what I call heaven. It was the most amazing experience that I ever had. It was amazing. Like, in your soul essence, you're in a plane of unconditional love. The colors are different. You don't die on your own. You're met by your guides and your soul family that have watched over you all your life. And they kind of like, it's called a life review. Like, they rehabilitate you to the fact that you've just had an accident, you've left your body, now you're here. And then you go through, like, it's almost like watching your life on a screen, but you're like a hologram, but everyone's telepathically communicating, so you absorb and feel everything that they're saying to you and vice versa. So you're in a really you're in your like essence state and you've gone home. Like, this place is just a non-permanent man suit in a limited time in this identity for a short while, and then when you leave this body, the body will stay on earth and the essence of you just goes back home, and you can just take as many, your soul is ageless. You are actually ageless in essence. And the essence of us is the same as source. God is love. We are all just having physical experiences on God's behalf so that that energy can grow as well. So, well, I had this life review, and it was, it was just, even the colours are loving. I can't explain it to you. It was just home. It was a very happy time. I was out of my physical body for a week, but where I was, there's no such thing as space and time. So I could have been there for a long time. I came back with a load of information that I was an 18-year-old saying lots of things that I would have never said before. But we did a life review. So we're looking at the screens of my life, and before I incarnated, I chose the family that I chose to play out the karma that I needed to what I was going to learn in the world. I chose to have that accident because it was basically my awakening was leaving that life. And just basically looking at all different lives and how they were all interconnected to this life. And then they were saying to me, and we covered a lot of information, but they were saying to me, okay, it's time to like go higher now and fully leave your body, and you can take any form you want, or you can just stay in the spiritual astral planes, which all of us go when we sleep. So we go there every night when our avatar body is asleep. Yeah, but I didn't want to go, even though I was told you've completed that life, your body's very damaged. If you go back, you're just going back to a life of pain and suffering. But in that loved up space, it seemed like a good idea. I questioned that now I'm in the physical reality, but at the time it felt like, yeah, it was the right idea. So anyway, so I wake up in intensive care, and I've had sustained a traumatic brain injury, and I've lost about 90% of my brain, and I'm paralyzed down half my body, and I'm told I'm never going to walk again. I may not talk properly or see properly again, and I need to be on 15 pharmaceuticals every day for the rest of my life to deal with all the pain, all the sensory issues that I inherited. Now, that wasn't a reality that I was really prepared to accept. I'm very grateful for mainstream medicine and doctors and everything, because if it wasn't for their fact and the science, if it wasn't for that, my body wouldn't have been alive and I wouldn't have had anything to come back to. So like, and the surgery and everything, like amazing. And I think it's amazing in those kind of survival emergency settings, but for a long-term solution, pharmaceuticals wasn't for me. Okay, so I tried every pharmaceutical. For I had like neuropathic pain, nerve pain, spasms, no balance, didn't know where I was in space and time. Like I lost all my physical senses basically. But because I'd passed over and came back like babies, they're still very connected to the subtle realms. All my energy centers, my spiritual centers have been opened again. So I kind of used my psychic centers as a compensation for not being able to use my physical senses. So that kind of took over. Does that make sense? So I got myself out of a wheelchair twice. I did get myself out of hospital. But then when I got out of hospital 8 months later, I had to learn what life was like with a disability, which was really challenging when you don't have a body that allows you to do anything anymore. And everybody treats you like you're stupid because your legs don't work properly. So I realized how prejudiced we were in England and how much prejudice I got from people, which before I was just like a middle-class white girl, I didn't have any problems. And suddenly the world treats me differently. And it hurt. It was hard at like 18, like, I was 19 by the time I got out of hospital, but it was hard having that realization in the world, how suddenly I'd become like marginalized even further. So my situation removed me from the world with the chronic health issues, but also how people treated me also made me more isolated too. So I found spirituality. I got to the point where it was almost like my intuition kicked in. When I was told I wouldn't walk, all I thought about was moving. All I thought about was walking. It took 4 physios at the beginning just to get me out of bed. So yeah, I've come a long way with the physical stuff. I still have a long way to go as well, but I'm making my disability work for me, and I really want to be a spokesperson for other disabled people out there. It's like, you're not any less of a person just because your body doesn't work efficiently. And if anyone really judges you on that level, then it's a bullshit detector. These people aren't for you in the first place, like find people that get you for you and forget all the people that don't, because you don't want to know them anyway. And don't let other people's standards affect how you feel. Don't let other people's judgments of you tell you how you feel about the world and how you choose to show up in the world. Because I don't think that race, disability, any of these things should be barriers. We've been conditioned to be ignorant, but we shouldn't be, because ultimately we all bleed the same when we're cut, and we all come from planet Earth. So so basically I really feel that it's important for people to realize, and people with mental health, it's a real condition and it's hard. And when you've got trauma and all these other things mixed in with it, you can't function the same. Like anybody that's going through your hardship with mental health and stuff, you are a true warrior. You know, don't lose sight or hope just because the world can't help you effectively, and the doctor's solution of just giving you a medical cosh doesn't work. You've got to find a solution. You've got to find other people that have gone through the journey and found a solution that can guide you if you can't do it for yourself. Don't suffer in silence. Don't close yourself down. I know it's very easy to feel like you need to do that, and maybe you do that for a period of time, but the ultimate reality is we are human beings. We need community. We need connection. We need love. We need sometimes a sounding board. Like if you've got one or two good sounding boards in your life, that's going to help you through the darkest of moments. And when you hit the lowest point, which I've been suicidal, I've been to the darkest parts of myself, that every human emotion that I could possibly think I've been challenged on, that it eventually comes back up. But if you learn to meditate, or you learn to breathe, and you learn to calm your nervous system down, and you learn to connect in with yourself, then you will find a way out of it quicker. There's an easy way or a hard way, and it depends how much you fight yourself. If you choose to fight yourself and try and stick to the good old ego identity of how you do things, you're not going to go very far, and it's going to be a more bumpy direction. If you actually learn to breathe deep and just embrace the waves of change and the waves of emotion and the waves of trauma, sometimes it has to come out. You need to make space within you before you can receive the new. You can't just step into a new life. It's a process. So I've spent the past 16 and a half years learning how to do absolutely everything again. And I was left-handed and I was paralyzed on the left side. So I had to learn how to do everything with my right hand, and then had to teach myself everything with my left hand. But I hope that people realize that if you make the doctors God, the doctors have a medical profession perspective, and they do know what they're talking about in some areas. But when it comes to you and your life circumstances, you can actually improve it. You can make it better. Like, you shouldn't take somebody else's, just giving you a medical cosh isn't a solution. And the only reason why I regrown my brain, relearned these things, and I still have a very long way to go, but how I learned this stuff was I went the holistic, looked at myself as a whole instead of the scientific perspective. I looked at the ancient metaphysical stuff that's been on earth for thousands of years, practiced by yogis like Kriya Yoga. Babaji, who was the founder of Kriya Yoga, was Jesus's teacher and helped him achieve that conscious enlightened space. So there's so much information out there. You just have to realize this shit isn't working, and I actually don't know what I'm doing, and I have failed every day. I have failed every day, hit the floor 1,000 times a day some days. And actually being in solitude and because I've been on lockdown for a long time, it does affect your mental health. And if you're going through this is the first time you've been restricted like this, like you've got to treat yourself like a wounded animal or a wounded child, not like a victim, but actually the fact that you just need to be nurtured at the level you're at, and then you'll build up your strength again and your momentum. But it's not going to happen all at once. It's a process. We as human beings are completely conditioned to not look at the shadow. We run away, we identify from the outside, and we put it within. And what the journey that I've been through, nothing on the outside could help me. It had to be an inner journey. I learned stuff. I went and trained in holistic stuff, theta healing, Reiki, shamanism, all sorts of different things. Different things resonated. So I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was like, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. And then suddenly a book or a person or just the information would just come to me out of nowhere. YouTube, like, you have the world at your fingertips. Why are you wasting your life on social media? You've got YouTube, you've got TED Talks, you've got podcasts. You can actually educate yourself with people that are way more knowledgeable than you, that will help you raise yourself out of your current standard or where you're stuck in your life. Like, so I've basically been homeschooling and home parenting myself my whole adult life. And that's been my journey. And that's what I want to give a message of hope to people, that you can build a new neurological pathway. You can improve your physical, mental health, emotional state, your traumas, your grey areas, the points that you keep getting stuck on that keep playing out in your relationships. Like, yeah, sometimes you are unbalanced, and it's okay because you're a human being. And sometimes you do fuck up, and that's okay because you're a human being. And sometimes you don't have to have all the answers. You just need to know what the next step is, just the next step and the next step. And if you can take it that simply, if you can actually just let everything else fall apart and just focus on the next step, then you will be able to get your momentum back slowly, and you'll do it for yourself, within yourself. But you've got to speak up. You've got to tell people when you're struggling. You've got to ask for help. You've got to take that step as well. And if it isn't your friends and family and you don't have that, because some people don't, then you need to actually like find a holistic therapist or a counselor or a massage therapist or something that's going to make your body feel good, make you feel good, help you reconnect in with your sense of self, because you have everything you need. You were born with everything you need. If you connect into your right brain and you link up into the universe, because I didn't have my actual mind, I didn't have my cognitive function, I didn't have my frontal lobe. I had to depend on the universal mind through meditation, through breath work, through prayer. And that's what I did. I prayed an awful lot. Like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I believe spirituality is a free thing and it's an individual thing. And there's many different ways to get to the same point. What is your passion? What makes you light up? What gifts do you naturally have? Are you trying to live a life set by somebody else's standards of a box that you're never going to fit in? Because I wasn't born to fit in, and I realised I was born to stand out, and it's made my life a lot more easier since I've accepted that. I wasn't born for that, so that's okay. Like, what are you born for? What's your creative flair? What were the gifts that you naturally had when you were a kid? What are the things that you're naturally good at that you never pay attention to? That is your natural flavour. That is your natural flair. And the more you can become more heart-centred, more aligned, more conscious with breath, breathing, breath is a toolkit for change, basically. If you breathe consciously, you can navigate your way through anything. And breathing consciously is basically a form of meditation. So everyone says, I can't meditate. You don't have to do it one way. There's different ways of doing it. But the point is that I'm just a regular person that was born and had a severe accident that forced me, because there was the guy that had the house that had the accident didn't have insurance, so I didn't get a penny. So I didn't have the financial support. So I actually had to fund it and work it out myself. But if anything, I've learned so much through going through it. I've also turned my life into a scientific experiment where I have practiced everything on myself to find out how not to do it. Because there's a good way of doing something, and then there's an unsafe way of doing something, and you don't want to do anything that's going to take you further down the rabbit hole. You need somebody that's going to support you through the rabbit hole if you're already there, or lift you out of it, or activities that help you do that. So yeah, so I'm really optimistic about the future, because I've never had a life in the world that I've created. I've been creating my own healing modalities, so I've studied in lots of different ancient things, like obsessively worked at this behind the scenes without nobody knowing. I've got no Instagram followers, like I was doing this without any recognition or anybody. I don't know anyone else that's done the same journey that I've done. So I've been working it out as I go along, and I failed miserably. But if you want to be successful, you have to get used to lots of failure, because it's part of the process. If you want to be in a more stable space in yourself, find somebody that's has already gone down the path before you, or is more educated, or just somebody that resonates with you, because like not necessarily your friends and family aren't always the people that are going to resonate and help you through the transition, And we're going through a mass transition on the earth, and it's actually a really powerful time if you just tune back into nature, ground yourself. It's not about, like, there's a lot of wannabe healers out there. There's a lot of wannabe people that are claiming that they've got there and they haven't even achieved it within themselves. I would be very selective about who you choose to work with. I'd be very selective about, because everyone's got some fantastic story or trying to sell you something fantastic, but have they really lived it? Or are they just trying to be the next internet sensation? Go listen to your intuition, go with what resonates with you. And if something doesn't resonate, switch that shit off. It's that simple. Like, you don't owe anybody anything. It's okay to take time for yourself. And sometimes when you're healing, relationships do end and people fall away because you're both on different paths and you just don't vibrate the same anymore. We live in a multi-dimensional universe where we're all connected by energy and emotional energy. And even if you're not actually aware of that, that is the fact, and that is true. We're all spiritual beings having a physical experience, and that you've come here for a purpose, and you've come here to do something. And it doesn't even have to be a big thing. It could just be a little thing. But your life matters, even if it doesn't feel like it. Your life matters, and you're loved on a grander scale than you realise. And when you leave your physical body, you realise it because you're seeing it like a screen on a movie instead of being the actor in the screen. And so I think self-consciousness, self-realisation is really about ownership. Like, you've got to own what's within you. You can't blame the outside world. It's like, we're all human, we all get triggered, we all have an ego, we all have moments. But I mean, to really grow, you have to own what you've got, you know. And those shady bits of your characters where you may be projecting that shit onto somebody else, it's your responsibility. You're an adult, you know. Like, at the end of the day, like, life is hard for everyone, and some people have more extreme experiences than others, but your stuff hurts you as much as my stuff hurts me. And it's finding ways to emotionally, mentally integrate and grow up within yourself, because we've been kept in a very adolescent society so they can sell us shit because we're insecure that we don't need. We don't need to listen to this. There's a lot of people that want to be in the mainstream world, and that's fine, and good luck to them, and that's their path and that's their entitlement. But I think there's a lot of us out there that actually want to see that there's time for a change and time to shift. And the only way we're going to do it is an inside out evolution. The only way we're going to do it is honouring our own path and our own beliefs, and actually just like working through that stuff. And it doesn't have to be hard. You can do it in a simple, fun and easy way. And that's what I realised, that the journey that I've been on, I've simplified what I've learned, and I'm turning it into something for everyone who wants to help themselves. So that's what I'm yet to launch all my life's work with the world, but I'm about to. But you guys are the first live show that I've done to share the message. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. Chloe, can I ask you to talk a little bit about what happens at night when we sleep?
Oh yeah. Okay, so like, your body's like an avatar. Your body's like the living organism that your soul is actually keeping alive. So when you sleep, so when you're awake, you're in your conscious mind, you're out in the world, you're busy, you're making it happen, you're making decisions, you know, you're in kind of the manly side of your energy. And when you go to sleep, your body becomes still, so you just become the breath again, and you're more in your feminine energy, which is more the right brain. This is the subconscious mind, which is 95% of who you are, the beliefs, programs and patterns. So when you're sleeping, you actually go to the astral plane, which is home. So you basically go home every night, and you connect with your guides, you have your dreams, you connect with your dead relatives or whatever, because you're actually taking information when you're in a dream state, when your body's recovering, in theta wave, and when you wake up in a theta brainwave, which is the same as a deep sleep. And then you go into that your conscious brainwaves in doing mode. So you can reprogram yourself. You can ask the universe. Look, the thing is, I don't expect anyone to believe my perspective. I'm not the sort of person that actually takes other people's stuff at face value. Like, I need to find out for myself. I'm a curious sort of person, and the best way that you can do that, I think, is do it for yourself. Ask, show me what I need to know. Guides, help me through my sleep, give me the message that I need, help me help me shift the grief of my dad passing so that I can reconnect with him on the other side of the veil. Help me raise my vibration, show me what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. Give me a sign. Give me the sign so clearly, repetitively, until I get it, please. Ask for it. You'll be surprised what you're shown, and you'll be surprised what you receive. And actually, when you realize that there's a whole multi-dimensional universe that you're connected to that's far bigger than you, that your requests get granted, but you actually have to be more conscious about what you're asking for, you know, and taking ownership for stuff. It can be hard. Facing shadow can be really painful, because it's like also the wounded child. It's all the unprocessed stuff that you were conditioned to before, that you absorbed in your environment, that you didn't even know was yours, that you're probably playing out now. It's like trying to wear a 5-year-old pair of shoes and your adult self, it just doesn't fit, you know. So yeah, so there's an awful lot you can do when you're awake, but there's an awful lot you can do when you're asleep, and you actually can program yourself. So if you meditate or do conscious breathing before bed to clear your mind, then you set yourself up to receive in sleep. If you ask the request for this and this to happen, or please help me resolve this, or please help me get this out of my mind, or please show me what this means, you will get the downloads when you're sleeping. And then when you wake up, you'll kind of subconsciously understand what to do without consciously knowing what it is. If that that probably doesn't make sense, but that's how it works.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm just writing a few notes in the in our chat box as you're saying it to me.
We are dreaming. regardless what brainwave of consciousness we're in, whether we're in our left brain thinking mode and disconnected from our right brain connected mode, we are dreaming, whether we're awake or asleep. We're living in a dream. The past is a dream. We are dreaming in the present, and we're making the future dream by what we're doing in the here and now. That's why I wanted to start in the here and now, move to the future, and then talk to you about what I went through to get to that point. And if I can do it, so can you. And the thing is like, sometimes you can be your own worst enemy, you know, like sometimes self-love is, you know, like people use a lot of positive, be positive, see the bright side as a kind of polite way of saying, shut the fuck up, I don't care about your stuff, I can't deal with mine. You know, like a lot of people get triggered by my story because they can't face their own stuff. And when that's been quite hard for me to learn that lesson, but also it's ultimately shown me like everyone's doing their best, and like people are generally good, you know, like there's a few dodgy characters out there, but people generally are good people, but not everybody's equipped for the sort of stuff that you're trying to deal. So be selective about who you share it with, and also like get a bigger support system of professionals or holistic people. I've actually found the holistic approach, osteopath, chiropractor, energy healing, homeopathy, has actually helped me out of like severe depression, severe suicidal feelings. It's helped me out of like some hard stuff because it works as a whole and it realigns you. Whereas pharmaceuticals, the doctor's opinion, none of that worked for me. I tried it and I failed and it didn't work, and it turned me into a zombie with a medical kosh. And how can you fix your brain if you're putting all this substance that are like dumbing your senses down? So I really had to evolve my intuitive senses, my sixth senses, to compensate for not having my worldly ones. And now I'm trying to regrow the worldly ones more to get the two in alignment, if that makes sense. But I kind of learned all this cool stuff without people having to go through the personal suffering. And I want to make it accessible for everyone, you know, so that at whatever level you're at, you can still improve your life and take your power back and find out what your power is if you don't know what it is. And it's okay not to know. It doesn't matter. Like, we all learn things at different times. There's no rules that say you have to be this, this, and this. And if you're listening to somebody else's agenda, then stop listening to that shit, because you are the best person that can tell you what's best for you. Other people can have an opinion, but ultimately you're the one that's stuck with yourself all the time. So I've been stuck with myself on lockdown for 16 and a half years. So it's been interesting to see the world go into their first wave of lockdown and how people are struggling. And it kind of showed me that, oh, it's natural to feel like that. You're doing all right. Whereas before I was in lockdown and the rest of the world was living. So yeah, it's been an interesting year. And I really feel like since lockdown, I've been observing, and now I'm being pushed to actually share that knowledge for people that are interested in helping themselves. And that's what I'm about. I want to just be a role model to people, as an example, as a regular human being who's been dealing with some extraordinary things. And I just basically want to be able to help people with their own evolution because they want to help themselves. Because what I can create on my own, what we can create together, is far greater than what I could do on my own. And I'm just one person and one example. And hopefully, like, it's inspired you to speak your truth and share your truth. And that's how we can connect. We need to be more honest, no more ego, no more fronting, no more pretending to be something you're not. Show up as you truly are and find out who's really your friend, you know, like, because when you change, believe it or not, some people don't like it because they're comfortable having you where they want you. Like, evolution, it's better to be alone than be surrounded by the wrong people. And I've really learned that lesson also. So yeah, I've learned an awful lot. I'm not grateful for all the experience, but I'm definitely grateful for the person that I've become because of it, because I've learned a lot of my own personal truth. And I really want to encourage other people and support other people to help them help themselves and drop all this shadow and drop this ego and find their creative truth, because we all need a bit of love and play, and we all have an inner child that is desperate for some attention, and we all need to learn to self-parent. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. And if anyone else is going through a traumatic brain injury, disability, health issue, trauma, complex PTSD, mental health, or anything, my heart really goes out to you. And you have got a real thing that you're contending with, and it's invisible to other people. So don't expect other people to understand, but try and find somebody that does understand, that can help you through those darkest moments. And if you don't have anyone, journaling, getting it out of your head, get the loop on a piece of paper, shut the book and don't look at it, and just try and write in the morning and the evening, and then have a little breathe or meditation or listen to a guided meditation, because men are actually better listening to like being in the silence or listening to like just music. Women are actually better with guided meditations. So if you're a man more in your femininity, you might be more drawn to a guided meditation. If you're a man more in your masculinity, you might be better to listen to meditation music, and vice versa for women. So like there's so many ways like this. We have the world at our fingertips. There's no excuse to actually be bored, because you actually maybe just need to change your pattern of what you're doing. If you do the same thing repetitively and expect to get a different result, that's a sign of madness. I think Albert Einstein said that. Was it Einstein?
Yeah, Einstein said, doing the same thing and expecting a different result is madness.
Yeah, doing the same. And the thing is like if you want change, you've like learning to walk took you probably more than 1,000 attempts, but you don't remember, but you persevered and you got better and better, and your muscles grew and got stronger. Learning a new skill, changing an emotion, connecting with your heart, being more centered, being more grounded, being more worldly, being more honest. It's a skill. Being brave, being strong, being courageous, being able to speak my truth was something I learned. You know, it's something that I had within me that I had to learn to connect with, but it's something that I actually had to learn to do as well. And if I can learn to do it, so can you. What's your excuse, really? Like, what's your excuse?
So
like, you want to suffer?
Talking about that, they say to master anything, so whether it be a musical instrument or a trade,
10 years.
It's 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 5 years.
Well, I've been doing, with what I've been personally going through, about 21 hours a day for nearly 17 years. And I have to say, I'm still learning. And the more I learn, the less I know. So, it can be a nice journey. I really hope that other people don't have to go through that level of suffering, and that they can just take something from this message in order to basically realize that it's okay where you are. Like you don't have to have it all figured out. We're perfectly imperfect, and if you can accept your flaws and stop worrying about what other people think about you, then you're going to ultimately be more healthy and stable within yourself for doing that. And having a disability taught me I had to learn not to give a fuck about other people, not that I don't care about other people, but their judgments of me, because I'm judged regardless because I walk different, you know. So it's an inside out evolution. It starts with the breath. There's many people, I think there's a song that was written by a Kriya yogi, and he sadly passed away now. He's no longer with us, and he inspired me. This is the journey that I've learned. He inspired me. He wrote this song, and the first paragraph and the last paragraph is his work, and the bit in between is mine. And it goes, I have a love that's far away, that's far away, that's far away. I have a love that's far away, further away than the stars. I have a dream that plays through the night, that plays through the night, that plays through the night. I keep my dream. I feel it inside. I feel it inside. I keep my dream alive. I know what I feel. It grows in my mind. It grows in my mind. It grows in my mind. I keep my thoughts on a higher mind, on a higher mind, on a higher mind. Because of my connection inside, it is my connection to the light. Because I have a love that's far away, that's far away, that's far away. I have a love that's far away, further away than the stars. And that's the journey I've been on.
Chloe, that's amazing. Really appreciate you sharing and being on the show. You got any questions, Phil?
No, it's beautiful. What a download. I don't know if there's anything to say to that. It's just so beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hopefully, if anyone is inspired listening to this, please share it on to somebody that's lost a relative, or somebody that's suffering, or just somebody that needs a new perspective, because there's many different ways of getting to the same point, and I'm just one person, you know?
So Chloe, where can people find you, Chloe?
CC the Creative Channel, which is capital CC the Creative Channel, on Instagram or YouTube. I've only just started, and obviously on your link, I can give you the links to put up for your YouTube channel if you want. But yeah, CC the Creative Channel. And I'm sharing all of my life work in a simple, fun, easy and creative way, as a toolkit to promote positive change, to help people help themselves, because it's all about an inner journey. And if we change within, we don't accept stuff from the collective that doesn't resonate with us anymore, because there's a lot out there that doesn't resonate for me, and I think there's a lot out there that doesn't resonate for you also. So if you can actually choose what you let into your inner space, choose what resonates with you, and focus on that, because we're actually in the age of light and we're birthing the age of love. Now, it can either take 178 years for humanity to get there, or if we do the inner work, we can get there in this lifetime. Now, that's my goal. I refuse to accept anything that doesn't resonate with the age of love, and I'm birthing it within myself. And I hope to achieve that and find other people of the pure vibration that want to play that sort of game, because I don't really see much out in the world that really resonates with me. And so I really want to come together with like-minded people. And I think together what we can create is far greater than what we can individually. And we need that honest communication. It's not even about the story, it's about the message of the lesson, really. And if I can translate that and give it to people in a fun, easy, simple way, then they can like fast track themselves without having to suffer or stay in the shit any longer than they need to.
So if people are watching this, Chloe, and they think, wow, I'd really like to do some work with Chloe, I wonder how she could help me find myself. I wonder how she could help me birth the age of love. I wonder how she could help me with my dream, so I can actually make the use of my sleeping. In what kind of ways could you? So if someone said to me, "Hey Phil, how can Chloe help me?" What would your reply be for me to be able to support people to find you, to work with you, so you can help them? So
I've trained in lots of different things. I have a master's in theta healing, the subconscious mind. I've Reiki. I've done lots of different things over the year. Too many things to mention now, but I'm an intuitive. I'm CC, the creative channel. I'm an intuitive reader. I channel for the individual, so I read them, what's within them, what's around them. I help people so like, when your iPhone gets an update every month and it gets a download of energy, and it's got a new program, and then it works better, and it's got these new bits that it can do once you've switched it off and switched it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I do that to the human being. So I call it like spring cleaning for the soul, almost. Like I will help you shift your energy. So I will help you find out what your subconscious blocks, beliefs, fears, resistance are. I work around to the individual, because everybody's different.
Yep.
And then I help you, give you new programs, new beliefs. So your subconscious is 95% of who you are. So if you reprogram the subconscious, the conscious mind and the everyday life thing sorts itself out, I found. So I help people reprogram their subconscious, clear, or like a bit of spring cleaning, like all the old energy stuck on them, within and around them, help them release that, so they've got space to feel something else. And then I've built a new neurological pathway, and then I give them a tool like conscious breathing, a very simple exercise for them to do that will help them grow that pathway, so that habit becomes their reality and that they live in that reality. Because I can set up the pathway. If the person doesn't empower themselves and grow the new neurological pathway, then they're not going to get the highest result that's possible. So like to help people permanently change, to help people really find out the truth about where they are, I work on an individual basis. So it's basically, we have a conversation, we work out where you're at, if there's anything the person wants to work on. If they don't know, then I'll investigate. I kind of do the investigation, then I link in with source, and source is the actual healer, not me.
So so they just reach out to you through Instagram then, if they want?
Send me because anyone can message you. CC the creative channel, and a photo of CC the creative channel on my Instagram and my YouTube channel is a picture of like the sun and a blue sky. So yes, they can reach out. I can work distance, I can work in person, but it's more about the message of just trying to give people a new perspective of hope. Like I felt hopeless for so many years. Like I really didn't fit. I really thought I'd made a mistake coming back. I was just in agony, suffering every day, complex PTSD. It's a traumatized nightmare. And I learned all this stuff, but I couldn't get to the root of it. And now I've managed to find roots, and I think it's relevant for everyone, really, because we're all human beings and we've all been programmed by this crazy system that we need to uncondition ourselves. So yeah, but people have got to be receptive. You've got to want to, it's a brave journey to own your stuff and look within and fix yourself. It's not for the faint-hearted, but it's a very rewarding process. But the thing is, you've got to expect, like, a lot of people start and they fail and they just give up. I fail every day. Like, I failed every day for nearly 17 years. Like, my successes have come because I failed so massively that I actually know how not to do it now. Like, you have, sometimes it's just learning a skill. Like, when you're a kid, you're learning to ride a skateboard. You can't do a big jump straight away or in the first week. It could take you a year. Like, it's the same with your own personal journey. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's in between. It's like the weather. It's like, stop having unrealistic expectations that you've got to be here in the next 2 years. It's like, let life happen. Let life unfold. You haven't really got as much control as you think you have. And the more you get out of your ego and your mind pretending you've got it all together and that you're trying to control it, you actually can come into your own sense of power and find out what being a grounded, integrated human being, spiritual being in a physical body really is, because this is our avatar, and I want to become the most evolved version I possibly can, and I'm nowhere even near there yet. But yeah, the age of love, what I want to birth that's what I'm about, that's what I'm focusing on, and everything else can stay there, as far as I'm concerned.
I just
for me
say
personally.
Thank you for you stepping in and sharing your light, and it's beautiful. It's gonna touch a lot of people and who are ready to receive, of course. But just let it out. It's beautiful. Just so
but we all
love.
should let it out. I think COVID has shown there's so many opposing opinions. It's like, find what resonates with you. If something is light and it tingles and makes you feel light, then that's a yes. If something feels heavy and restrictive in your body, that's your body saying no. So listen, does this person make me feel light or heavy? Does this film make me feel light or heavy? Does this news channel make me feel light or heavy? Listen to the messages your body is giving you. Become more in tune with your body. Your body is an amazing vehicle. You need to become more loving to it. And I'm still learning this journey, and I've got a long way to go. But the more I learn self-love, and the more I learn to just take a step back and be like, it's not that, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if today was your last day on earth, would you really worry about all the crap or all the pressure you put on yourself? Would you judge yourself? Would you make peace with people and say goodbye? Do you know what I mean? Like, and appreciate things. Like, gratitude is a really good one to help you change. But when you're in your lowest, darkest, most broken, traumatized moments, gratitude's not something you can necessarily connect with, but the breath is, the breath, or just like having a shower and feeling the water on your skin, or stepping outside and breathing the cold air, or like just something so simple, or even having a meal, like eating well, eating some fruit. Like, your body needs fine-tuning. You need to put it, as you change, as you become more spiritually awakened and sensitive, all the emotional debris is going to come out. You need to create space and nourish yourself while you're going through the release process, because believe me, you will come out the other side. It just doesn't feel like it yet. I promise you that.
Just put your links on.
All right, so we'll thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really cool, and thanks for being the first people that really got my story. So,
well,
sorry about the technical difficulties. It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait, and this has been a beautiful show. And go ahead, Phil.
I forgot what I was going to say, Phil. Carry on.
So this has been the Phil and Phil show. I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And this has been Chloe Cook, right, at the Creative Channel.
No, it's CC. Capital CC.
No, I'm just saying, but your name is Chloe Cook, right?
Yeah. But actually, the person I've become is CC, because I don't really identify with Chloe Cook, because Chloe Cook had a really hard journey. I actually CC. I'm going to change my name to CC one day, because that's the person I've become through the journey. And CC can be said in any language. But I don't want to be all focused on me. It's more about the message, like I'm just
totally. We appreciate. This is why we're doing this. This is the community. Whoever wants to listen to it, this is what we're doing, and this message has gone out there to our audience, who we really appreciate, because we're just vessels and they're vessels too. So this has been a beautiful opportunity for us to share, with our community, your message to the world. So thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Chloe. Really appreciate you coming on and being brave to do your first live.
It was fun. We got there in the end.
You know, it's like Phil and I both say, you know, we come on at 6 o'clock and we deal with whatever gets thrown at us, because that's real life. We're not pretending to be perfect. We start at 6 o'clock. Whether we come on at 6 o'clock is a whole different ballgame. But the aim is we start at 6 o'clock, we let life do its thing, and we show up. And that's what for me and Phil, the show's about us showing up.
Well, I really appreciate you pushing me to show up, because I would have procrastinated probably a bit longer.
Well, that's what we're here to love each other into our fullness, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we all can help each other. Like we all have a story, we all have a message. We're all students and teachers, you know. But you've got to become the humble student before you can become the teacher, you know.
Absolutely. Right, Phil, we're going to wind this up then.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
this
beautiful rest of the day or evening, wherever you're at. Go ahead, Phil.
This has been the Phil and Phil Show. I'm in the UK. Chloe's been in the UK. Phil is in the lovely Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. We really appreciate you all for watching our show. You know, we're doing our best to show up, and for our guests to show up. It can be a challenge on every level to show up. So guys, show up in your lives, show up for everybody else, show up for the love of Earth, make peace with everybody and yourself. If you've liked our show, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you feel to, please donate, because Phil and I both do this for the love of it, so it'd be really great to have some support on that level. Really appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Chloe.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
That was awesome.
Stay on, Phil.
I'm on. You're still recording.
Oh, you need. Oh, do I? I can.